Damn, Fate Grand Order. I mean, we only have a few episodes left of this anime, but it still feels like with each passing episode, with each battle that we've been witnessing since the endgame really took off, it feels even more emotional and impactful than the previous, as if, yeah, this is definitely the final battle. I mean, the music's kicking in, we're getting that emotional goodbye, characters popping up that kind of abandon the battlefield are coming back for their glory and honor. It kind of just feels like this is the end, but then wait, look at the episode count. This isn't the end, and they still continue to find new tricks to pull up its sleeve. I mean, Gorgon coming in at the end of the episode was just the icing on the cake. I mean, this battle, I gotta say, it was, I think, my favorite looking battle. It was my most interested battle that I was just looking at. I just think everything about it was just so well done. The gloomy atmosphere that they did for that back half was like the perfect way. We've seen a lot of action pieces where it's been completely like dark and like hellish, or it's been very bright and vibrant. But this was like a mixture of hell crashing down to earth, and it was a cloudy, muddy mess, and you couldn't even make out what we were looking at, but we could just see the size and scale and the destructive power that it was radiating. That because we couldn't see all the little details because it was clouded in such a powerful aura, it made it all the more devastating and just menacing. And I didn't think we were going to see the third command spell be used in this battle. I thought it would be maybe like next week, the week after that, maybe the final episode. But to see how they incorporated it to make sure that you succeed at all costs, because you have to launch basically a nuclear bomb upon this abomination and you can't break. You have to make sure you succeed, understanding that this is going to cost the character their life, but at the same time, you have to succeed. Even if one person lives, that means it was a victory nonetheless. And to see just how, even after everything that they do in this episode, after the emotional goodbyes, the pain that they're inflicting upon themselves, to see that it just still stands there is just so menacing. It's a good thing that Gorgon popped up, because I mean, it just feels like we need all the help that we can get, and it's going to be interesting to see what the hell happens, because I'm very curious to see how they can continue to escalate this fight, because basically, they're trying to buy time, right? They're going to suck her into the underworld, but if she can fly, how the hell are you going to suck her into the underworld? Did that attack break her wings? Can Gorgon and them have a little bit of a brawl to buy some time? Because basically, it kind of seems indestructible, and I love that. I just continue to compliment how good of an endgame this feels like, because it actually feels like the end of the world. These characters recognize that all hope is gone. I mean, Gilgamesh says in this episode that he knew all along that his city was going to fall, but in his vision, he was going to be the last man standing. So the fact that even 500 people still were alive, that to him was the best victory that he could possibly hope for. This episode flexes just how great of a ruler, once again, Gilgamesh is. The fact that he didn't even hide this from his people. He told his people months back that this city is going to fall. You want to drink your sorrows away? Go do it. You want to run away? Go ahead. You want to enjoy your life? Go ahead. Or you can stand and fight. And the fact that from mother to father, children, it's like, holy shit, they stood by him that entire time. Not because he was some ruler with an iron fist, because they believed in his rulership and believed in the city that he was ruling. And that says a hell of a lot. Like, his speech inspiring not only like Fujiwara being like, why are you even trying to like shoulder the blame? In my opinion, I'm gonna give you a pat on the back, because I should be standing here alone, but because of all the little things that they did, they were able to save even 500 people. And 500 seems like nothing. It just feels like they were a failure, right? You kind of want to side with Fujimaru and Mosh, being like, yeah, we messed up. We could have done something different. What if we did this a little bit differently? But it's like, no, that one moment, that simple moment, we immediately just agree. We're like, you know what? Even if one person survives, that legacy, the memory will live on, and that won't mean it was a complete failure. And it's definitely easy to say, yeah, but if only one or two people lives, like, is that really a victory? But as long as their culture can survive throughout the ages, pass on their legacy, write some stories, carve it into some stone, generations later, eventually someone will read up on it like they do in a history class. And I love that idea and mindset that rather than just crying and, just saying, the end of the world's here, we're going to hug our loved ones, they all want to make sure that their culture and their kingdom survives in any which way, even if that's just a single person. And even if no one lives, they want to go out with a bang. And that's something that definitely says how great of a leadership and this kingdom this was. I think very early on, it was easy to see how great of a kingdom this was and how good of a ruler Gilgamesh was. But I think episodes like these, Face at the End of the World, really see him talk to his people, not as servants or just subjects, but as a big family, saying, this is what's going to happen, I give you the same option, I won't be mad, yet no one leaves. And I think it'd be easy to say, really, in a situation like this, there would bound to be a couple of deserters. And I mean, sure, we had a deserter who came back in the middle of this battle because, you know, at the end of the day, what else are you going to do? You've had such a great life under such a great ruler, a great kingdom. Where are you going to run to, and why would you abandon that? You gotta, you know, show your loyalty, show your companionship to not your king, but a fellow member of your family. And that's a big reason why I really love the back half, because even though this has been one giant battle for sure, the fact that we had such simple moments of just conversations, understanding, reflecting that the end is here, and we had 500 people look up at King Gilgamesh and just recognize that it's okay, and we're going to do our best even if we know the outcome beforehand, because apparently Gilgamesh knew the outcome beforehand, but 500 people that weren't in his original outcome are now here. So it gives you that little sense of optimistic nature that I think those characters desperately needed. It kind of felt like we were a part of that crowd, looking up, being inspired. And I think it goes to show how good of a story that this Fate Babylonia tale has become. It's really, really emotional and special. Animation. I gotta say, the animation was spectacular. It's hard to pause at any specific moment during this episode when the action was present, because rather than it just being a couple of keyframes and then just crappy face to be an in-between, here, like, it felt like this was one giant video game cutscene, polished to the max in a AAA production, to make sure that we felt like there was a lot happening, things flying every which direction, all the characters being useful, using their abilities in combination and harmony, and it just felt like they were going into the eye of the storm. They were going to die. They shouldn't be running towards it, but that's the only option they have. And I thought just to see the escalation, especially when you realize that there's going to be quite a few casualties probably within minutes as soon as we started fighting, I liked how the combination, just how Fujiwara has a pretty big burden on his hands. It's funny to kind of like think about, you know, his big ass harem. Like, he has a big ass harem here, but at the same time, because he has so many contracts made, anytime he fuels one of his servants, that does take a pretty big burden on him. And the fact that after doing so much, he's still commanding and saying, like, you know, even if I'm dying, you gotta put up a defense. You gotta make sure that we continue to stop her and buy as much time as possible, because it doesn't matter if any of these characters survive. As long as she can get sucked into the underworld, there will be a victory nonetheless. And you don't see that too often. I often would assume that someone like Fujiwara would get a power-up, would just kind of feel like he doesn't have any burden, despite clearly seeing that he should have a burden, especially if he has so many contracts made with as many servants and he's supplying as much mana and energy that he is, right? The fact that these characters are saying, like, you know, this is gonna be bad, or I'm gonna need a lot of help, and he's still doing it, and you can tell he's getting winded and wounded, and it feels nice, because a lot of times you're used to a character like him just charging into the front lines, being some badass soldier that he pulls skills out of his ass for. The fact that he's a commander, basically supplying the energy for his troops, and you can tell, even though he's not getting pummeled like a lot of these characters, he is still getting pummeled in his own unique way. And it's going to be interesting to see, because this clearly is representing that he is fine dying himself. He's fine letting his friends die if it means that they can succeed in this mission. Like, he's seeing a lot of things happen where he understands, he's saying don't go, but in the back of his mind he realizes he has to, because if he doesn't give up his life, then there's no way that our companions can charge up the attack that they need to. And that's something that I think really makes the endgame special, and just really Fujiwara special in general. Of course, there was always going to be those people who would rip into Fujiwara, saying how he's generic, he has no personality or depth, but I think those people were really watching with clouded vision, because clearly he has a personality. He clearly has his reasons for fighting. He's not just some random insert for the viewer. Like, he clearly has become something so special. And the fact that he's not just becoming like a Shiro and just, you know, fighting or things like that. No, he is Fujiwara, humanity's last master, and if he has to give up his life here, he's going to do so because he has to make sure that this abomination doesn't succeed. And I think that's what makes it so great, is that you kind of just felt like everyone was dying. It felt like everyone was going to die in this episode, and at every moment you just felt like, as long as they can win, it's going to be alright. And it kind of makes you feel a mixture of both Fujiwara and Gilgamesh. On one hand, you're inspired, but then on the other hand, you feel just disappointed as if maybe we could have done a bit more. And that's really going a long way to say just how great this is. Like, it really, really is special. And I think it's setting the bar for what Fate anime need to be going forward if they're going to have any form of like Holy Grail War or Holy Grails in general, just invoking this sense of confidence in future Grand Order anime adaptations. Like, holy shit, was this incredible. Not to mention, we even got some, holy shit, Enkidu content with Gilgamesh. I was expecting him not to hurt him, but at the same time, I wasn't expecting giving the Grail to basically giving his heart back and saying, you know what? You're not the real one, but at the same time, the heart and the soul, they don't have to match. You still can be my friend. It's something that I feel like at the end of the world, it's like, why would you continue to fight? Why would you continue to have this rage and hostility, especially when it feels like, you know, no matter what happens, tomorrow we're all gonna die. Why not just have a friend at the end of the day? And it's gonna be interesting to see how he incorporates himself, because he was in that crowd listening to the speech. And it's going to be very interesting to see what his character will truly become. No longer held down by this mindset that he was this child of mama and how he had this one and only purpose. Now he can maybe actually become something that he is proud of before he ends up dying or something like that. I feel like Babylonia is doing everything right. I mean, yeah, you can look at maybe the first half of the episode. Was it the flashiest or the most crisp and polished? No, but look at the back half. I think it's understandable why not everything can be a HD high quality wallpaper when we're just looking at characters talking, because when you have 10 minutes of just pure AAA cutscene video game content, at least it's what it felt like to me, it's understandable that where you gotta put more of your resources into, but I mean, it doesn't change the fact that those simple moments of talking and dialogue was very emotional and kind of got across the melancholy, feeling like it was the end of the world. And not many anime can really feel and say that, you know what I mean? Just actually say, yeah, this actually feels like the end of the world. Usually get 2 episodes at best, and it doesn't really feel like anything besides a building gets crumbled to make it really feel like it's destruction. But holy shit, this is one of the best destructions I've seen for an apocalypse story in anime, without a doubt in my mind. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What did you think? Favorite moment? Where you think it's going to go next week? Do let me know. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy, and remember to hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.